My name is Judy, and I'm coming to you from the woods of New Hampshire, where I live with my husband Joe and our black cat Meryl. You may notice that I look different. I needed a change, so I got about 5 inches chopped off the hair, and this is what we've got. So I'm adjusting to it, but I think it's okay for this spring. Joe just went to the grocery store, so I'm taking advantage of this time by myself to record a little podcast episode. So let's get started. I should also mention that you can find me on Instagram, where I'm most active, as the Autumn Acorn. You can also find me on my web shop, theautumnacorn.com. I sell my patterns on Ravelry and Etsy. Let's start with finished objects. I showed you these the last time I podcast, but I think I only had one finished, maybe. These are those silly socks. These are silly because they have a different toe. And I should have started lower, and I don't know what I was thinking. I had enough yarn. I just messed up. But these are my newest pattern called the Worsted Magic Heel Socks, and they have a really pretty cable going down the front, which really helps with the fit too, I must say. And I blocked these on some little wooden sock blockers, and then I did the toe in this piece fleece in a totally different color. But now that I've shown you, I do have to weave in my ends, but now that I've shown you, I am going to wear them because they're cozy. Speaking of socks, and these are not magic heel socks, but I consider this a finished object because I did some mending. Now, this is not the best mending. It is literally my first attempt at doing a weaving visible mend. So I'll just show you a little example of my attempt at weaving. There's some more. This one is much larger here. And there's a little spot here. So and then one on this heel as well. So I tend to wear out my socks, probably where everybody does, but right down at the bottom of my foot, and sometimes obviously the heel. But these are my favorite socks. They were my very first successful pair of socks, and I believe I used a crazy Zilberball Crazy, I forget what it's called, by Chappelle. And these socks have worn really, really well. They took me a long time to wear. I wanted to just display them forever because I was so proud of them. But once I started wearing them, they're just so cozy, and I was so sad when I got holes. So I promised I would do a video on how to do this weaving technique, but I really want to get better at it first. I worked on another pair of socks and they came up better, so I am improving, but just bear with me and then I'll show you how I did it. I believe the last time I podcast, I was working on my Granny Stripes throw, and I'm happy to say it's finished now, and it's pretty good sized. It's definitely a throw. It's not like a blanket for 2 people or anything, but I'll just give you a quick glance at it. And I'm so happy with the colors and the way it turned out. There's a couple that I kind of wish I hadn't included, like this dark gray one. I don't know if that one necessarily belongs, but aside from that, I'm really, really happy with this throw. Oh, yeah, it's pretty long. And I've already started a new one, which I will show you when we get to works in progress. Now, I'm counting it as finished, but There's ends. There's ends to weave in. They don't bother me right now. They kind of look like fringe, so. But, so this one I'll keep. The second one that I'm going to show you in a little while, I'm giving away as a Christmas gift. I was watching one of my favorite podcasts, The Republic of Me, with Ivana, and she had made some of the most beautiful Christmas gifts for her family. And she does a lot of weaving, which I plan to get into this year. I cannot wait. But I haven't started yet. But anyway, she like wove a blanket. I think she gave that to her mom or dad. And just beautiful, beautiful gifts. So it inspired me that this Christmas will be exclusively a handmade Christmas. So I've already started. I have a list of everything I want to make. And starting with a granny stripe blanket for my youngest daughter, Sarah. So Sarah, I hope you're not watching. If you are, when I get to that part, you need to turn away. As your mother speaking, you need to listen to your mom. Anyway, that is another finished object. And then my final finished object is, and this has been renamed because my other name was taken. I should have checked first. It wasn't an official name, it was just like a nickname I had given it before, which was the sock arm cardigan. But now Joe has helped me rename it the Sand Art Cardigan, because these sleeves remind him a lot of a sand art painting that we have in our living room, and I'll try to include some footage of that so you could see what he was talking about, but I think he was right. Here is the Sand Art Cardigan in all its glory. And you may notice immediately, because on camera I see the difference in the colors from the top to the bottom. That was not intentional. That is called what happens when you do not, you know, switch up your skeins. So knit a few rows with one skein and then a few rows with the other. Because this was my own hand-dyed yarn and I messed that up. Luckily in person it's really hard to notice, but I did see that on camera. It was a little more obvious. Let me try it on for you. This design, I am, by the way, still looking for test knitters. So far I have, so this comes in sizes extra small to 5X, and I have someone doing a large, an extra large, a 3X, and a 5X, and my sample was knit in large. But I do need testers if you're interested in the extra small, the medium, the 2X, and the 4X. And I like to start the test knit in March, beginning of March, and I'm giving at least 6 weeks, longer for the bigger sizes if needed. My goal is to have this out by Easter. So, whoops, I'm sitting on yarn. Okay, so here it is. I'll just give you a little glimpse because I have photos that I'll insert. Joe went out one day to take photos and it was so blustery and stormy, but I was stubborn and I'm like, no, we can do it, toughen up. It was awful, and the pictures showed that. So we did new pictures yesterday when the weather it was snowing, but it was a lot more cooperative. I know I can't really show you much at this angle, but this is really cozy. So this is a large, but it has positive ease, about 4 inches. The sleeves were done with mini skeins. I turned them into magic knot balls so that they were identical, and knit each sleeve separately. The rest, the main body color is like a coffee color that I dyed up. And this has raglan shaping. There are some short rows in the back, the upper back, and then there's a little bit of intentional, I call it pleating, but it's more like a little ruffly in the back, just subtle, very subtle. But I like it. And this is really cozy. I made my sleeves probably longer than I should have. Not too bad. Some people like them that long, but I think I would have liked them to my wrist, maybe, instead, but it's fine. The other thing, if I could change anything, I used a variegated yarn right here. These were all hand dyed by me, but there's one in here that does this crazy patterning right here, and I don't like it. Joe thinks it's really cool, but I wish I had left out that color. So I don't know. I think you have to take a peek at what you're using and stick with not really patterning yarns, just speckled, or even the tonals work really well for this. So if you would like to help me with the test knit, please reach out. You can email me. You can make a comment here on this video. You can message me on Instagram. I need some testers, so that would be awesome to have you join along. Right now I have the pattern out to the tech editor, so I will have yarn requirements and all of that coming up soon. But overall, I believe it took me approximately 4 skeins of fingering weight, and then probably the equivalent of mohair, because this was held double with mohair. This is the first garment that I have that I actually will wear and that fits me well, and you know, I saw to completion with mohair held double, so I'm really excited about that. I've had other things that I have started or even finished, but they never became a design, but this is going to be my first true, I think the first, yeah, published. I'm thinking of another design that I have it in like a dark blue with mohair in parts of it. It's a pullover, but I never had that published, so I'm not counting it. So yeah, stay tuned. I hope to, like I said, I hope to have this released by Easter if all goes well. Okay, so I'm actually going to consider this also a finished object because I did some yarn dyeing. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this because I put up some videos and stuff, and I've been doing some reels on this. But I did some dyeing up of my kit yarns from my How to Knit kits that I sell on my Etsy shop. And so I started with some shallot skins that Joe and I have been collecting over the last week or so. And I didn't know what I would get. I've dyed with onion skins before, both yellow and red, and I love the results with those. But I had never tried shallot, so I thought it might be worth a try. And this is what we get. You can see there's a little variation. It's a little tonal, but it has some darker spots and lighter spots. And overall, I think it's just lovely. It's subtle, but I like subtle. And it was fun just to see what I could get. So that was the first one. Then I moved on to Madder Root, which I love. It's that and cochineal are my favorite things to dye with, to be honest. And the very first color I got from the pot was this. This is the deepest, darkest color from the Madder. And again, you can see that it's got tonal qualities to it. I love it. The next one I pulled out was this. Just as lovely, and it has, again, a lot of tonal qualities. They're easier to see in person. And then I got this. And then we got a little, I call it muddy. It started to look a little bit muddy, but still very nice. They all go so well together too, which is fun. But you can see how they kind of graduate or gradiate. It's a gradient. And okay, so then I moved on to cochineal yesterday. And the first skein that I got out was pretty stunning. Definitely more along the orange, there's fuzz on there, orange peachy vibe, I guess. But very pretty. And then I just kept pulling out more like that. So I would say, yeah, these guys all came out of the cochineal bath. And then when you put them with that first one, this is what you get. And then the last, I put two more when there was still, you know, the dye was not exhausted. There was still color in the pot. And I did all of these kettle dyed. That's the method I used. They were a little bit lighter, less saturated, and then I was like, Joe, there's still dye. I can't get rid of it. I can't just waste it. So I got this very soft, subtle, peachy color. Light, soft pink. I don't know what you'd call it, but beautiful. So all together, there they are. And then, if you want to get crazy, throw in the cochineal and the skein with shallot skins. I'm not sure I can hold these up, but I'll try. What do you think? I think they're going to look great in the kits, and I think that the new knitters will be happy to knit with those, so I'm excited to send those off. Now I am going to grab some works in progress, so hold on. In my African bulga basket, I have a work in progress, and this is being knit up with Harrisville Designs Daylights in the color Over Easy, which has like very subtle hints of yellow in it. And it is a worsted weight yarn, I believe. I'm almost 100% sure. And so far what I have completed, well, I haven't completed it, but what I started with and am continuing on is the back. And it has some cabling, it has some ribbing, followed by some cabling, and then just a stockinette back. And then that is going to come forward. I'll do the shoulders and the neckline, do some short rows in the back here, and then head on up to the front. And I'm not sure yet if I will be doing a cardigan or a pullover. I said it was going to be a pullover, and one of my wonderful viewers had suggested the name Cozy Cable Pullover, which is such a cute name and right to the point. But I did decide I didn't want the whole thing cabled, but the front, whether I do like a front panel or two front panels, they will be cabled, completely cabled. So I'm excited about that. I'm loving this yarn. This yarn is so sheepy. It's not toothy or scratchy at all. It's very light and airy because it is a woolen spun, which I already know is my favorite. I love light sweaters. I love the feeling you can just throw it in your bag. And I love the way the colors are showing up. I don't know if you'll be able to see any of the yellow specks, but they're all over. And they're really obvious to me. But again, I just don't think they're going to show up on film. So you'll have to get some and see it for yourself. But I'm really happy with this project. I may be putting it on hold for a little while because I have a tank design that I already completed and did one sample of that I'm going to be starting a second sample because I feel like we're going to be getting into the tank weather soon and not the pullover in wool. Okay, I wanted to show you, and this is being housed in this big basket with all these minis. I'm out of breath just from going downstairs. So out of shape. So anyway, this isn't much to show yet, but I did start the one I told you about. That will be a Christmas gift. And here it is. This is what I have so far. These colors are a little bit brighter than the other one, but beautiful nonetheless. Nonetheless. I love this pattern. It's just so simple and so mindless, and I just like to reach in and grab like another ball and just add it to this simple, mindless crochet afghan. I also have another crochet project in this handy basket, which I don't remember where I got it, but I think it might have been like maybe a Home Goods or a Marshalls or something. This is also going to be a Christmas gift, but I just haven't decided who's going to get it yet. I had not done Tunisian crochet since I was a little girl. I was probably 10 years old when I did it, and I used to do it a lot, and I missed it. And I had this Tunisian, you see they're just like a long crochet hook with this like what looks like a knitting needle on the end. I don't know if I have my glasses here. If I do, I do. I can tell you what size this is. This is a size 8, 5mm Tunisian crochet hook. And this is the fabric that you get if you've never seen Tunisian crochet before. I really like it. It reminds me a lot of weaving, but it's so easy. And I've only gotten that far, but it's just so mindless and fun. If anyone would like to know how to do it, I'd be happy to show you. I'm using, well, here's the ball I have left, but it's called Vita Lana. This was a knit crate yarn that I received, and I love the color. Ancient Ruin is the color. It's 100% fine Peruvian Highland wool. So I'm hoping 2 skeins will be enough to do a scarf, so we'll see. I feel like it will, because I've already gotten that far, and it did not take long at all. I brought this to Connecticut with me when I was babysitting my granddaughters. So let's see, I talked about Handmade Christmas. Oh, I'm going to do a little giveaway at the end of this too. I wanted to thank you all for the support you showed to me and you gave to me on the last video. And on the last video, if you didn't watch it, I really opened up about how difficult it is to grow a YouTube channel. Like, I've been podcasting for a few years now, and I just don't have the traction. For whatever reason, YouTube just doesn't prefer my videos, doesn't really push them out there much. Of course, I do my own marketing, and I really do try hard to get the word out, but it's simply not enough in a sea of knitting podcasters to stand out. And it's a lot of work to produce a podcast. It's a lot of time, and what I gain from it is community, hugely community, friendships. I learn so much from everyone else in this knitting community, and I absolutely love it, and I just don't want to stop. But I have to say to myself at some point, you know, what I'm doing, is it getting me closer to my goal of building my business? And not feeling like I'm growing, feeling kind of stagnant, almost going backwards a little bit in numbers as far as subscribers. It's really, really discouraging and disheartening. But you guys were so kind. I mean, a lot of you said, oh, I had no idea that liking a video would help. And it does. It helps a lot. Like, the more likes that YouTube sees, the more people they'll show your video to. But that's not your problem. But what I'm trying to say, is that I may be opening up a Patreon channel. And if you don't know what Patreon is, it's a site where there are a lot of makers, especially, and there are many people on that site, whether you be a weaver, a writer, a yarn dyer, knitwear designer, crochet-wear designer. There are so many other topics too, but those are the ones that I pay attention to. And you have these subscriptions each month. So you can have a $3 level, a $5 level, a $20 level if you want. You can go way high if you want and have these expensive levels. But anyway, basically you have 2 lower levels that people can choose to support you every month. So if you choose a $3 level, you are committing to paying $3 a month until you cancel. Of course, that's always your option, but all of that money goes toward the maker in helping them either buy equipment or just pay for the costs of giveaways, because the shipping can get very expensive and the cost of the products. And in turn, whereas normally on YouTube you're getting maybe one video every 4 to 8 weeks, if that, you would get a lot more because you'd be paying money. So you get a lot more. So my thoughts on this, and I'm leaving it open to suggestions. What do you guys want to learn about? But I made a little list of things that I would like to talk about. And something at the very top of the list is the topic of being an HSP, or a highly sensitive person that's an introvert trying to run her own business. Definitely want to do a lot of discussion on that. Gardening, bread making, natural dyeing, the whole knitwear design process. I'd like to get into a lot more detail about that. Behind the scenes, like I said, I want to get into weaving. I'd like to share my experience with weaving, nature crafts, organization. I'm going to be doing some maple sap harvesting this spring. I could talk about that. Just forest walks, river walks, cozy spaces. I could talk about just sort of reinventing your life. I went from being a very high-stressed classroom teacher where eventually my health was failing, developed very high blood pressure, just had a lot of things going wrong, and I had to completely figure out myself and who I really am and take a hard look at that, and then look at what suits that personality that I have, this highly sensitive introverted personality. How can I fit in? How can I cope? How can I perform self-care so that I stay healthy? And then how can I work from home, which really suits my personality best, but still stay healthy, happy, and you know, be able to have a strong economy from that. So all of that, all of these thoughts are running through my head, and I just really want to know what you guys think. And I understand that this is not for everyone. I get it. Believe me, I follow 3 accounts, 3 patrons, or I am a patron of 3 Patreon accounts that I support every month. and some months I have to cancel my subscription and then pick it up again when there's a little bit of extra money. So I get that it's not for everyone. I get that some people will only want free content, which is fine. I understand that completely. But if there's any part of you that wouldn't mind supporting a small maker like myself, and perhaps you feel like you could learn something from me, and I will be posting a lot more on Patreon. So yeah, that's my thought. Now to the giveaway. So this is the first thing, and I'll show you what it is. It's a sweet little pin. There's a company that my husband follows called PROMETHEUS Design Works, and they just make some really cool things. A lot of them are one-of-a-kinds or they're limited. So he decided one day to get me a pin. They are glow-in-the-dark, and he thought it looked like little Meryl, our black cat. And I love this. So I put mine. I have this Pendleton case that I actually keep all of my art supplies in. So I thought it would look cute on there. I'll show you. So I put mine right there. And I love how it glows in the dark. So that's one thing you'll be receiving if you enter the giveaway. Hold on a minute. Sorry. And then the second thing is some hand-dyed yarn that I dyed up. Now, this isn't perfect. I don't know, I'd almost call it like a seconds, but it's okay. I mean, it's pretty good. It's not, there's nothing horribly wrong with it. There's just a little bit of dark spots here and there, but it's this really, really pretty pink. There are 2 skeins that you'll be receiving, and they were dyed with cochineal. They're 75/25 superwash merino nylon. 439 yards each in a 4-ply sock. So that's almost 900 yards that I'll be sending you. Plus the cute little Meryl pin. So if you would like to win this little set, all I'm asking for is a comment. If you could please comment below, what would you be interested in seeing in a Patreon account, a Patreon site, in my Patreon site? What would you like to see me either show you or teach you or talk about? You know, what would be interesting to you? I would love to know what things would you like to hear about and see on my channel. And please be a subscriber if you're going to enter this contest. Like I said, please like the video and then leave your little comment. And I will be choosing a winner for the next episode. So hopefully just in a couple weeks I'll be able to tell you who won that. I think that's everything. Thank you so much for stopping by. If this was your first time and you made it this far, I really appreciate you. And if you are a returning viewer, hey, I really appreciate you a lot. It means so much to me to build these relationships with you. And Meryl and I appreciate it. Right, Meryl? You didn't even come and say hello. You didn't even say hi. She's a little tired. Just a little. Look at her. You're so cute. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.